Hello, everyone. How you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're going to be talking once again about M. Night Shyamalan. We're going to be talking about Signs, which is like a lot of people's like favorite M. Night film, which is interesting having seen the film. But
Yeah, like, The Sixth Sense usually will, top lists, but
yeah,
Signs is usually up there, and people seem to really like it, so, yeah.
yeah. Um, what did you think?
I mean, I think I mentioned this when you recommended it. I knew of this movie, and what I knew just didn't sell me. I wasn't that interested in it, and having watched it, I felt largely underwhelmed because I feel like there might be a bit of a nostalgia to this movie for people that have watched it, because I've heard people describe this as really scary when they were a kid, or like being like kind of a first horror movie kind of a thing, because I believe it's PG-13, and j- I didn't find it that effective as a horror movie or a thriller, like whatever you want to call this, but and I was a bit underwhelmed by the story and the themes, but I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it was fine. Just fine. When it's like I was watching and I was like, there's some cool stuff here. And I mean, I liked the whole idea of like him being so hopeless that he gave up on his faith and everything. And there was a moment at the end where I was like, oh, that's gonna be great, because it's when they're locked in the spoilers, I guess. When they're locked in the
Basement?
basement. Yeah, I forgot the word. Um and the aliens have left. And they're like, we need to be sure that they have left because we need to go out to get the inhaler for the kid. What's his name? Morgan, I think.
Morgan,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And I was like, oh my god, they're gonna do something where it's like we can't be sure. And then the main character Mel Gibson just says yes, but I have faith or something, because the whole movie was about him losing faith and losing his connection to the world and his hope. And but they don't do that. They still somewhat do that later in a very much more like children's movie way
Yeah.
of like, yeah, have faith. And like the fucking mom with the fucking it was so weird, the that she says like
The
swing
flashback.
away
Yeah.
and everything, like
Yeah.
that
I
tying back was very children's movie. I don't know.
Well, there's a I've heard people praise this film for its subtlety,
I
but I'm
did
like,
not
I
think
think
this
it's
film was
anything
subtle at
but.
all. No.
The water, just to get the fucking elephant out of the room, water is everywhere, and I suppose you're like, "Well, they set it up." I'm like, "Yeah, except it's stupid." But the swing part of it, it's like, yeah, they set up that he was like had a record that people knew about, but he always swings. He has a strikeout record as well. So it's like this previous potential baseball career that failed, so he's like stuck with his brother, and then in the final act this baseball bat, like his wife said it, and there's this idea that there's no coincidences, and the solution of the movie, the defeat of the alien, is him hitting it with the baseball bat and splashing water on it. It's like, come on, it's not about that, it's about faith. It's like, I know, but the third act is bat and splashing water, and that solves the problem of the film, and then the humans deal with the rest of the aliens because the aliens aren't a threat. They die if it's raining.
It is kind of
I
weird because I was thinking, right? Because like so much of the film is showing the aliens, and it's such a slow process, and like they're not being hostile; they're just there. And for a moment, I could swear they would be like, "No, see, the aliens aren't hostile. Humans just thought they were."
well,
Because I thought that would have been like an interesting twist. But then at the end, they are like they try to kill the fucking kid, and they kill a bunch of people because of their toxins or whatever. So it's like, oh,
yeah,
I
like
guess that.
poisons.
Yeah, like it felt so underwhelming. I was like, okay, I guess.
Well, you were mentioning, it's so funny. I knew about this jump scare. It's like the one key proper jump scare in the movie, but there's that that shot in Brazil where there's like a film that's shown on the
Yeah.
news and then you see an alien walking by. Once again, I just didn't find a lot of the straight up horror aspects of the story all that, you know, tense or anything like that. But oh god, I lost my train of thought. What were you mentioning before?
You were talking about the jump scare in Brazil, and
No, no,
before that.
before that, what was
Um,
it?
Good question. What was I
God
talking
damn,
about?
God damn it!
I was talking
Fuck.
about the fact that the aliens were hostile and
Well, yeah. So what I was going for in that scene, that's like a probably one of the scariest scenes in the movie, or one of the more like horror aspects. But the if you look closely, the alien is hiding. And you know that's the classic thing throughout the movie. You get like the just little shots of them in the cornfield or on the house. It seems
mm.
like they're staying away from the humans
Yeah.
for the
Well,
most
it's what
part,
I
and
thought was cool when the alien showed up at the end um on the television set. I was like, wait, are we not gonna show the alien? Because every time we see it, it's like very low quality footage, or through like in the shadows, or through a reflection. I was like, oh my god, are we not gonna see it? But then they actually do show it. I was like a little underwhelmed. I thought, I guess, like
I
just
like Yeah.
it
I
just
like that they danced around the CGI. Like
yeah,
there's a couple of shots where you see it in full, but they do try to keep it as hidden as much as possible. There's definitely like a Jaws thing going
yeah.
on.
Well, that's what I mean. It
Um,
would have been an interesting choice, creative choice, to never fully see it, and it'd be more in their minds. Because it's also part of the whole like idea with like how we imagine
Faith.
aliens, right? Just the whole thing of like the little green man, and how like influenced by Hollywood that is, and how um they, instead of like showing us another version of aliens, they just like keep it obscured, and then you can just imagine. I don't know. It seems more interesting to me. More, and like you said, it maybe relates to faith as well. I don't know. It could have been interesting as a choice to actually have it be like obscured and not be like fully revealed. Especially because a lot of the stuff with the book that Morgan's reading is like half of it is like bullshit and half of it isn't. I thought it would have been fun if like the book was like full of shit. Um and so like I don't know. They could have done something. I'm just
I
thinking of
mean,
like a more creative version of the film. It feels a little bland to me. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, honestly, the aliens don't even factor all that much into this. You could have had them be even more subdued and
Hmm.
to the side. I think it could have helped the film's themes about faith because it just straight up that is like the theme of this movie. The film is about a character who loses their faith. I'd compare it to The Exorcist. In fact, like I had no idea that the main character was a priest. So his wife was killed in a car accident, and it's just one of those classic stories of a character's faith being rocked. He hasn't been a priest for 6 months, but people still call him father. People still like look up to him, and it's just one of those. And not to mention, it seems that Morgan hasn't lost his faith. He's still religious. He wants to say a prayer at the final meal,
Hmm.
but it's
And I kind of like the whole like there is, this film is not bad, right? Like we've been kind
no,
of ragging on
yeah,
the film. I don't think it's bad, and I do like the main character's like whole arc, and like him kind of like renouncing his faith, and like part of what's interesting with characters that like this, they're like they hate God, right? Like he even says it, like fuck you there when Morgan's dying. Um and that's interesting to me because to hate God, you need to believe that he exists, right? Which is what I find interesting in terms of like religious characters like this. Like you're not really an atheist if you hate God, because you need to believe he exists to hate him. So I thought that was cool, and like him accepting it. I just, other than if the whole third act wasn't so heavy-handed in terms of the faith thing, if it had been a little more subtle, I think I could have like liked it more. But like the whole arc, and I do think the Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson like are interesting characters. I like those two and their dynamic. I wish
yeah.
Joaquin
Well,
Phoenix was a little more of a character.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
they
it
set
is
him up
weird.
with the whole like being a baseball player and everything. It's like, oh, he's always taking risks. I wonder how that's gonna pay off for his character. And it kind of doesn't. It pays off in a very literal. He swings the bat to take out the alien. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, beyond that, I always got the impression that he was one of his sons, like the eldest, but it's like he's actually his brother is the idea. And I didn't understand why he was so much older than the other kids, but it's he doesn't really feel like he has his own thing that he does. He just kind of
Yeah.
is there in the house and just part of the family, and they don't give him any sort of like B story or some goal that he's trying to do. It's just he's just kind of there, and I don't know, it's the family's fine, everything fits, and really good performances in this film. I feel like Shyamalan is usually pretty solid at that, at least especially in his earlier films. Um, and I will say, I love the way this film is shot and lit. The
Yeah.
scene where though they talk about faith and about like the word signs is used in that scene. It's
Hmm.
about like luck or faith or do coincidences happen? Is nothing a coincidence? Um, but I miss movies where characters could had their whole like one side of their face was completely covered in shadow, or where like nighttime just looks blue for
Hmm.
no reason, even though it's completely unrealistic. I'm just like, I love blue night
Blue Nights
movies.
is amazing. I
Yeah.
always revert back to Mad Max Fury Road. It's peak. Yeah, everything
Yeah.
looks so
I,
fucking blue. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that whole scene with the bullet farmer, like it's super bright too. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if they shot that during the day.
I'm
That
pretty
might have
sure
been
it's
one
day
of
for
those,
night.
shot
Yeah.
during.
I'm pretty sure it's day
Yeah,
for night.
probably.
Yeah.
But it's just, oh, it looks so beautiful though. It's
Yeah.
just stylized it's just brilliantly. But yeah, yeah,
I do
it's
agree. This film is shot really well and it really pleased me. Like the opening shot of the film with the fucking what was it, the swing on the window and then the camera moves back. It's like beautifully shot, very like
yeah, and
golden hour lighting. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful.
the window as well has a bit of a wavy
Yeah,
texture,
it's
like,
so
unless the
cool.
I so when it goes back, it's like, "Woo," and there's another shot later in the film where I believe they zoom in, and you get
Yeah,
the
when
same
his face
effect
is
of
on the
that with
other
that
side.
window,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's great.
Yeah,
Such
lots of
really great stuff.
clever camera movement like that. Yeah. I I get like why this is up there and why people appreciate it, but just the overall story was what didn't sell me. So let's talk about the water because I'm telling you that was the key thing I knew about this movie, and you find look up any top 10 plot holes that ruin the movie, and it's on that list. Like, why would the aliens attack a planet that's
That's
70%
70% water.
covered
Yeah.
under? It's like, yeah, and
Yeah, I didn't know
we
anything about the
are
movie. I was
largely
thinking that at
composed
the
of
end,
what
and I was just
you
like,
didn't
I guess. Yeah,
you didn't
I
know
did
about
not
that?
know. No, no.
What the
I
fuck?
didn't know anything about this movie. I
Oh my
literally
god!
only knew the title and the poster. That's all I knew.
Wow.
Didn't even
Okay,
know what the
I've
story
known
was
that for
about.
years.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I was dissuaded from watching it because I don't. What did you think? So if you're fresh, what would you think about that and
I
how
was
that
it
factored
got to the
in?
end and I was like, okay, why would they? And I was just like, maybe it wasn't that coordinated, but it was because it took ages, right? Because they mapped the whole fucking planet with the crop signs, crop
Yeah,
circles,
I
whatever.
mean, I feel that's kind of like my first. I guess the idea, I suppose, with water is I'm like it would fade away, but I'm like you would think. I guess that maybe the ships wouldn't be affected by the water, but I don't know. I just like anywhere where it's raining, right? Like wouldn't or where even like clouds or I just there's so many question
I
marks. I'm
guess
like
their
the,
ships are water resistant. But they
I
aren't?
I'm
Question mark.
more than willing to go with that. You'd think that they would have suits or something like that if that were the because I think someone says that maybe they're like monitoring what on the planet is harmful or what is beneficial to them, which
Uh-huh.
something like that seems to be what they're doing because they clearly scope out the house that the main characters are in, and they like test it for weaknesses or something along those lines in the third act, but I it just does feel like a bit of a Hail Mary because towards the end, it's like overnight, humanity basically just beat them, even though they seemingly were invading everybody. And you're just like, well, why? I'm like, you could kill them with a squirt gun. It's like, and a bat. Like,
It is
it,
weird. That's why I wanted it to be a more of a thing where they weren't hostile. And it's the whole thing because they were talking about like the when they were talking about the possibility of aliens getting to Earth, they were talking about like believing in miracles or just that people get lucky. And for me, the idea was about aliens. Like, could this be a miracle? And the whole like aliens arriving on Earth, and if they're not hostile, that adds to the idea of his faith that he's so worried and everything, which is kind of similar to that It Comes at Night film. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like it could have done something more by not having the aliens be actually evil. Though I get 2002, right after 9/11, it was they were always going to be evil. But I think you could have done something more with the story by making it more tied to his faith, by like him being so pessimistic, but maybe his brother actually thinks, like maybe they're not hostile, maybe they're not here to kill us. Like, I don't know.
something more for fate. I mean, another part that I laughed at is the asthma attack in the basement. It's almost like they pray the asthma attack away. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's not really how that works. And I
Yeah,
mean,
they
they
slow
still
down
need
his
his inhaler,
breathing,
but
and he's not like okay. It's crazy though. He slept for 12 hours after an asthma attack. It was You'd
yeah,
hope it'd be
he
less than
was
that, but whatever.
he was still in rough shape, but I just it's obvious what the film is going for a perspective of a man, getting his faith back, and that's the ending of the movie. It did show him back in his priest getup, and not to mention I did love that scene transition from uh, the house, and it's like sunny outside, and you see the windows, there's snow, and finally him. Like it's a clever way to just show passage of time and that he got his faith back and is a priest again. But I don't know. The I recommended Unbreakable for the podcast, and I think that wasn't quite your cup of tea as much as it's mine. And who knows? Maybe I need to just rewatch this movie more. Maybe I'll get something out of it. I didn't appreciate Unbreakable as much the first time I watched it, but I feel like the characters have more of their own independent agency in that film, and that just because it has a similar thing where there's a character who gets injured in a car crash, just like the mom dies in a car crash in this movie. So it certain elements, Shyamalan is always kind of like that. He's always telling stories about like relationship between parents and kids. That's like a fairly consistent theme throughout all of his movies. But yeah, something about this film is just underwhelming to me. j-
Yeah.
I get what it's going for, and it's well shot. It's well put together. It's got good performances, but the aliens are probably the most disappointing part about the film for me. Just their role in the story, how they actually work, what and who they are. I prefer the stuff with the family to them, and I don't think they connect as well to the the overall story.
Yeah. I don't know. A little underwhelming, I suppose.
Yeah. How many Shyamalan movies have you seen in full
I mean,
now?
all
Because
of
I don't.
them are now for the podcast. So it's Knock at the Cabin,
Oh
Unbreakable.
yeah, we did watch.
Yeah, Knock at the Cabin, Unbreakable. Actually, I watched The Happening once. That was not for the podcast.
Wait, haven't you seen Trap? I haven't seen
I seen
Trap yet,
Trap.
and you've
Trap is
seen Old.
amazing. Trap is amazing. I've also seen Old. You're right. So I've seen 5 films, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, I can just
What if
check. I
I
have because on
looks like I've seen
Letterbox.
yeah, I've seen 6 it looks like. Well, now, yeah, 7 now. I haven't logged
6, 7.
signs.
I've watched 6 apparently.
Hmm. Yeah,
Which one did I
it's
forget? I don't know.
Yeah, he's got such a weird filmography. I always remember like his comeback with Split and what people hoped Glass was, but he's he had such an amazing startup movie, and Signs is like still in that era where people thought he was at his heyday, and
Mm.
obviously The Last Airbender just killed people's faith in him, but now he's sort of bringing it back, so I like him as a filmmaker. He can be pretentious. His stories, they're very inventive, but they can get out of hand and you know not connect as well as he might think they do. So
He's interesting. I like watching his films because they're all interesting, even if they're not good.
yeah, it's always something to take away. I mean, really, I feel After Earth. I have not seen that, but that's one of the few that I've heard is just bland and just generic and like who gives a shit. But
Yeah, as far as I know,
yeah,
that film was
might
made
be
just so Will Smith could act with his son. So
yeah, with Jaded. Yeah, it does not surprise me if so. But yeah, it's. Would you recommend Signs?
that's an interesting question. I actually don't know. You go first.
I I would recommend it from the perspective of just the filmmaking. Like I said, the direction and the performances and how the family works. I don't picture myself rewatching this movie all that much, but it is there's something there, and it definitely resonates more with different people. Like it's if you look into the reviews, they swing like both ways. Some people really like it, some people are not a fan of it. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. There are elements I appreciate, but by and large, I would recommend it as a film.
Yeah, I think I would recommend it. I think it's worth watching at least once. It's pretty decent. It has a lot of things I like. It
Yeah,
just also feels a little underwhelming with the potential because it has a lot of things it could say and it feels a little like something a lesser filmmaker would make, and Shyamalan is weird enough, I think, that he would make something more interesting out of this. Like Knock at the Cabin is interesting and it explores its ideas in a way that this film just kind of doesn't. So I don't know.
yeah. I feel like that's like I probably wouldn't. It's one of many movies I wouldn't have seen without this podcast, but I'm glad to have at least seen this movie once because so many people had talked about it, and it's worth checking out and having seen. So,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, Evan, it's now your turn to recommend something.
Yes, indeed. I added this one to the list relatively recently, but this is a movie that my older brother recommended this movie to me years ago. He loved it, and I don't know that much about it. The main thing that I have heard is that it is very similar to The Matrix, but it's not. It's more like the first half of The Matrix before the movie kind of goes into kung fu and more action movie mode. The first part of it of like the questioning reality and the like and something under the surface is what it is. But it's by Alex Prowse, the director of The Crow. The
Oh,
movie is called Dark City.
Dark City. Okay, yeah, I've heard that film. I've heard it's really interesting. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
It's all the after all these years, I've never bothered. I own it on Blu-ray, but I've just never sat down and seen it, and I'm pretty spoiler free,
Me too.
so
And people I follow seem to have given it very good ratings. It's okay. I'm excited. I've been meaning to watch this film for a long time.
glad. I have
Okay.
no idea what we're in for,
Yeah,
so
me neither. Oh,
hopefully it's great.
apparently there's a director's cut. Which one are we watching? The
Ooh,
original or the director's?
God damn it. I always hate that. It's like some people swear by the
I
I don't know
think
what
the
the differences
director's
are.
cut is the one that people seem to say is the better one
Pro
from what I've
how
seen.
much longer is it?
I don't know.
I'm probably first time viewing director's cut or theatrical. Director's cut 100%. Theatrical is plot. Yeah, I don't know if I agree. Spoiler. Give DNA straight. Director's cut. Let's go director's cut. If people,
Yeah.
it's probably good. So
Okay. So yeah, Director's Cut of Dark City coming to you next week, folks. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Um and yeah, we'll catch you next time, folks.
okay, well, yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
I
Check
didn't
out
wanna.
my city.
I wasn't in the mood, but yes, like, comment, subscribe, click that bell icon, join us on Patreon, follow me. Actually, I've deleted my Twitter account, so you can't follow me on Twitter. You know, it happens. Bye bye, folks. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye bye.